So in this video, we're going to teach you how to make your shots go from that to this. Once again, in this video, we're going to teach you exactly how to hit all of your shots in. If you struggle with hitting any of your shots long, your volleys, your dinks, your speed ups, your serve, your drives, or maybe even your drops, this is going to be the video for you. Once again, if you ever struggle with hitting the ball in the court, this is going to be the video. We're going to be giving you tons of tips and tons of tricks for you to learn exactly how to keep your shots in the court. Now, many players, they struggle with this. They struggle with keeping the ball in, and what do they have to do? They have to slow their shot down. By slowing their shot down, because they have a fear of missing, they're going to allow gravity to work and the ball is going to dive in. However, you're going to hit a ceiling if you rely on just gravity. You're only going to be able to hit the ball so hard. If you want to hit a shot like this instead, a little bit more pace while still keeping the ball in, and not just keeping it in because you hope so, but keeping it in confidently, then this is going to be the video for you. We're going to teach you the main root causes of why players hit their returns long, hit their serves long, hit different types of shots. We're going to teach you topspin, which is the #1 remedy to keep the ball in. And we're going to be going over every single stroke exactly how to make sure that you maximize the chances of getting your shots in. The first thing that we're going to go over is we're going to go over our serves, and then we're going to go over our returns and our drives. So make sure to buckle your seatbelts and stay tuned for this amazing video, because once again, when you are done this video, you are never going to miss a ball long again. Let's go. Now, many players on their serve, they're afraid to miss long because you only have one chance. If you hit the serve out, you automatically lose the point, and you have to either give the ball to your partner or it's a side out, and they get the chance to earn the points. The serve. In this video, we're going to teach you right now exactly how to hit your serves in. Again, a lot of players, they serve long. Their ball goes too hard, especially or too long when they want to hit hard. Instead, what you want to do is we're going to teach you exactly how to get that serve as hard as you want, but still in the court. The main reason why players miss their serves long, and it has to do with one thing, and this is for your drives as well, is their paddle face position. Once again, their paddle face position. This part of the paddle is what is going to determine if this serve is going to the moon or to the gate, or if this serve is going in. A lot of players, when they make contact with their serve, their paddle face is open. I want you to think, wherever your paddle face is pointed, the ball is going to go. Once again, wherever your paddle face is pointed, the ball is going to go. So if my paddle face is pointing up, and I want you to draw an imaginary line from the center of your paddle face. So there's an imaginary line or arrow coming out from the center of my paddle face. Do you see it? If my paddle face is like this, look where the imaginary line is going. It is going up. If the imaginary line is going up, the ball's going to go up. So again, players, they try to serve regardless if they're closed stance or open stance. Their imaginary line is pointing up, their paddle face is open, and again, what's going to happen? The ball is going to go up every single time. So what do? They have to slow their serve down and allow gravity to work for them. Instead of having your paddle face open, you need to close your paddle face. Again, you want to close your paddle face. A lot of pickleball users or viewers are obsessed with grips. Tyler, what grip should I have? Should I have a forehand grip, Eastern, semi-Western, this, that? I don't teach grips. I teach do whatever is comfortable for you. Now, you don't want a full semi-Western, and you clearly don't want your paddle face open, but all you want to think is paddle face closed. Now, different people have different wrist flexibility. This might be comfortable for Nancy, but this might be comfortable for Karen. This might be comfortable for me, but in all of these, my paddle face is still tilted downward. So when the arrow or the line is pointing, it's pointing downwards, which in return, it'll make it go in the court. So again, watch this. This is the exact same serve. When my paddle face is open, here we are. When my paddle face is closed, here we are. Difference night and day. And by having a closed paddle face, it's also going to give myself topspin. A ball with topspin is allowing you to hit as hard as you want and give you the highest chance of dipping on your court. I like to say that topspin is insurance on every single one of your shots. Now, a lot of players think that, oh, I need to move my wrist or do this or do that. You don't need to do any of that. All you have to do is just tilt your paddle downward. So now, when you're swinging low to high on the serve, which is what you're doing, you're brushing up the back of the ball, swing low to high, look, you're brushing the back of the ball because it's tilted downward, and you're automatically going to get topspin. So don't think about how to create topspin or I gotta do this or this with my wrist. All I need to do is tilt my paddle face downward. If you can keep your paddle face tilted downward prior to the serve, then you're going to be able to keep the ball in. So prior to you lining up on the serve, I just want you to make sure that you're in this grip. So go here if you start here, go here if you start here. So if I take it back, I'm gonna start here, make sure my paddle tip faces down. If I start back, I'm gonna make sure my paddle faces down, and then I'm going to swing, and again, the ball's going to be in. So step number one is check that your paddle face is tilted down in the proper position prior to contact. The next thing that you have to do, and this is a big thing, and my favorite quote in pickleball, is in pickleball, to gain control, you have to give up control. The more you let the paddle work for you and the less you work for the paddle, the better it's going to be. And what I mean by this is a lot of players, they have a death grip on their paddle. They have a death grip on the paddle and they're working for the paddle and they're not letting the paddle work for them. If I have a death grip on my paddle and I swing super hard, it's still going to go long. Now, if I tilt my paddle face down, clearly it's going to be a higher chance of it going in. But if I have a death grip, it's not going to allow my paddle to do the work. It's not going to allow my paddle to get under and get the back of the ball and in return create topspin. If you're missing long and your paddle face is still tilted downward, or if you tilt your paddle face downward and it's still going long, I want you to think about your grip. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being a death grip super tight, 1 being you're dropping the paddle, and I'm not dropping this amazing carbon paddle. Make sure you click the link in the description, use our code UNIVERSAL for a discount on your purchase, but you want to be around a 1.5 or a 2. A great way to ensure that your paddle's loose is A, you can do some serves or some hits, some dinks, drives, whatever you want to do with your index finger and your thumb. So all you're going to do to teach yourself this looseness is you're going to grip the paddle with your index finger and your thumb. And all you're going to do is you're going to do a couple serves and you're going to get the feel of how loose it's going to be. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm not worried about where the ball is going to go. I'm just worried about the feel of my paddle. Another great drill to do to emphasize this looseness and get the feel, get the muscle memory of this, is to squeeze your dominant wrist with your non-dominant hand and do a serve. Now, this is going to be hard. You're probably going to have to do a drive, but you're going to squeeze the wrist and then you're going to hit. By squeezing the wrist, you're going to focus on this grip and you're going to grip the paddle, loosen, return, and then you're going to be good. Again, a serve that's gripped super tight, the paddle super tight, it's going to go long. A serve that the paddle's super loose and tilted downward, you're going to be much better off. Now, this is going to be new for you if you're not used to death gripping the paddle, if you're not used to having the paddle face closed. If your paddle face is open, you're probably going to have to death grip and slow it down. And this leads to my next point about why you are missing your serve, and that is because you are stopping at or right after contact. Remember, in pickleball, to gain control, you have to give up control. You have to let the paddle work for you. This is a serve that the ball is going long. I'm just trying to get it in and I'm stopping. I'm slamming the brakes. This is a good serve. Again, trying to get the ball in, slamming the brakes. It goes a little bit long. This is a good serve. You need to fully follow through. Remember for the serve, and this is going to go into a return or forehand, a backhand drive, is that it is a stroke, it's not a hit. You're not hitting it, you're swinging, you're stroking it. You want a full swing every single time you hit your serve. Now, how do we ensure that we have a full swing? You can think that you're going to point your elbow, your butt cap, or check your watch on your wrist. When I swing, I'm going to point my elbow towards my target, my butt cap is going to be facing forward towards my target, or I'm going to be checking the time on my wrist. If you can ensure that your paddle face is tilted downward prior to contact, before you even start, you're going to be in the proper grip position. I'm not up, I'm down. You're going to hold the paddle loose and you're going to fully follow through. You are never going to miss long again. And what's going to happen is you're going to be able to increase your swing speed. What's going to happen as well is if you do miss long, you're going to be able to solve it. It's like when you're sick, you get medicine. When you have a cough or the flu or whatever, you get Tylenol, Advil, Aleve, whatever you want, right? If you miss long, you know that A, is my paddle in the proper position, B, am I gripping the paddle too tight or loose, and C, am I fully following through? You're able to problem solve and troubleshoot. And what's going to happen again is you're going to be able to increase your swing speed, and by having these three things, you're going to be able to serve as hard as you want and still get the ball in. And that is huge. By being in the proper position, you can swing as hard as you want, and now you don't just have to slow your shot down and let gravity do the work. It makes a big difference. Now, the one big thing is after you tilt your paddle, you have to make sure that you just swing forward. A lot of players, what they do and where they go wrong, and another reason why their serve goes long is because they're moving their wrist or they're picking their body up and they're just trying to do all this. I'm tilted down and I'm going with my swing. I'm never moving my wrists and I kind of jump the gun, but also you want to keep your body forward and your head down. I want you to think that there's a laser shining out the center of your chest. You want that laser pointing down and forward. You don't want that laser pointing up. You want your head pointing down forward. You don't want your head facing up. Any type of contact sport, you want to be going into the person, right? If I was tackling someone and I tackle someone, I pull up or I fall to the side, what's going to happen? I'm going to get laid out. If I'm making contact with my serve and I'm hitting my serve, I need my body to be down and grounded. I don't want to pull my body up. And what I mean by this is where players go wrong. Players go like this. They pick their head up. I need to keep my head down throughout my serve. Again, players, they pick their chest up. I need to keep my body down and forward. Now, a great way to ensure that I'm keeping my body down and forward is to lower my center of gravity and get into my legs. I like to say I'm 6 feet tall. I want to be 5 feet tall when I hit. I want to make sure you're a foot shorter than you typically are. If you can get into your legs, you're going to, in return, have more balance and you're going to stay grounded. A lot of players go wrong and they end up missing long because what they do is their legs are locked and they're standing straight up and they're out of balance and they can't hit hard because they're out of balance. I want to be balanced when I serve the whole time, and I really want to make sure that I get my legs down when I hit the whole time. My legs want to be down and I want to sit into my legs and I really want to be in this ready position when I hit. I don't want to be standing straight up. I want to be getting into my legs and getting down. If you can implement those things into your serve, you're never going to miss long again. Now, we talked about our serve. Now it is time to get into the forehand and backhand returns, as well as the third shot drive. Let's go. The good news with the drive and the return, it's kind of the exact same thing as a serve. It's kind of the same exact tips. The difference between the serve and the drive and the return is the serve, you're dropping the ball to yourself. All these other shots, the ball's coming to you. A great way to always keep the ball in is, again, number 1, hold the paddle loose. Number 2, tilt your paddle down. And number 3, fully follow through. A lot of players go wrong and they're afraid to pop their drive up. They're afraid to miss and they lay off the brakes and they slam the brakes and they stop at contact. You need to make sure when you drive the ball, you fully swing throughout your shot. If I stop and I squeeze or if I don't fully swing, the ball's going to go long every single time. What you have to realize, and this is kind of counterintuitive, but what's going to happen is by doing it the right way, you're going to see how bigger of a ball that you can hit and it's going to win over your muscle memory. But you need to give up control to get control. Once again, you need to let it go. The more you let it go, the better it's going to be. Now, in order to implement that, you have to make sure that you're in a practice situation. If you're going out playing a tournament that you spent 100, 300, whatever, they're spending so much money on these tournaments now, these entry fees, it's insane. But you're not going to want to miss because you're not going to want to lose. You have to do this in a practice setting. The best way I like to do it for my serves is literally just go out and serve yourself. And if you're doing drives, either you have a partner and you're going to hit as hard as you can, or you're going to just do drop feeds like I'm doing. And you're going to just work on making sure that your paddle's tilted downward, you're loose, and you're just fully following through. Now, if I miss, what am I going to do? I'm just going to try to hit another one. I want you to notice this thing. Even though I missed the first one, I don't slow down my swing. Where players go wrong isn't because they're not in the proper grip or they're not fully following through or maybe they're not holding the paddle loose, but they miss one and they make a change to their shot. They miss one drive and then they automatically change up their swing. If you miss a drive, 9 times out of 10, it's maybe a contact problem. Maybe it's a footwork problem if you can incorporate all these things. You need to keep the same swing as you saw me do with the one that I missed and the one after. If you miss one drive, that's perfectly fine. But you don't want to miss 3 drives that you're just stopping at contact. You need to make sure that you fully follow through. Now, big thing with the drive that I like to do is, again, I got to make sure I close my paddle face. Forehand or backhand, when I hit, I want my paddle face closed. When I hit, I want my paddle face closed. I want to make sure I'm loose and I want to make sure I'm fully following through. Another thing is, again, I want to make sure I keep my head down and my body forward. Anytime you hit a return or hit a drive or a return, you want to make sure that you get up to the kitchen. You don't want to just wait, and that's the difference between the serve. The serve, you have the third shot that you have to let the ball bounce. The drive, after I hit, I need to get my body going into the direction that I want the ball to go. If I want to take it down the line, I'm going to get my body to go down the line. If I want to go in the middle, I'm going to take my body in the middle. By keeping my body down and forward, it's going to allow myself to keep myself more consistent. To keep the ball in the court, you have to think that you're compact, concise, and controlled, and all your momentum is going where you want the ball to go. If I pick my body up or if I pick my head up, where is the ball going to go? The ball is going to go up. So what you always want to think again is that you're always making contact and you're staying down throughout your shot. Think that you're tackling someone where you're just moving forward. Now, big thing with the forehand and the return and the backhand is you want to make sure that you make contact out in front. A lot of players, and this will go into our dinking as well, but a lot of players end up popping the ball up in the air because they're making contact too close to your body. Whenever you make contact too close to your body, the ball's going to go up. So you want to make sure every single time that you hit the forehand or the backhand, your contact's out in front. Where it's not is my contact's not close. If my contact is close, the ball is going to go up every single time. So you want to make sure, again, you make contact out in front and away from your body. How do you make contact out in front and away from your body? It's very simple. All you have to do is take the ball a slight bit earlier. So again, we're keeping our head down, we're getting into our legs, we're making contact out front, we're tilting the paddle down, we're fully following through, and we're holding the paddle loose, and that's going to help you keep the ball in. You need to think on a scale of 0% and 100%. 100% is super powerful, 0% is just guiding the ball over. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you start out around 50 or 60%. If you struggle with the ball going in, the ball staying in the court, you don't want to be going 100% the whole time. If you go at 100%, the only way that you could go is down. But if you start at 50 or 60%, you can increase the speed and work your way up. That's another big thing. The best piece of advice that I've ever received on my returns or my drives is a return or drive that's in 60% of the time, that's 100 miles per hour, is way less effective than a return or drive that is in 95% of the time, that's 45 miles per hour. And what I mean by that is you want to slow it down a little bit so you get a higher percentage. Now, if I'm hitting the ball in every single time, what am I going to do? I'm going to speed it up. But if I'm missing long every single time and I'm just making sure that I'm in all these proper positions, then what am I going to do? I'm going to slow it down. Now, here's a big thing. If you're going to slow it down, and this is like viewer discretion is advised, you want to make sure that you don't slow it down by changing up your swing. Again, your goal when you hit these forehand, backhand drives and returns is that you want to make sure that you continue on the same swing throughout, regardless of what shot that you're taking. So where players go wrong again is they go, oh my gosh, I missed. I want to keep the ball in. I'm afraid in the tournament. Oh my gosh, like my coach is going to kill me. And they'll end up just trying to do all this crazy stuff. You want to have one stroke for every single shot that you take. And what I mean by that is my backhands here, my forehands here. I'm not changing up the stroke at all. And that is a big difference compared to the beginner, intermediate, and advanced level player. So we went over our serves, we went over the forehand and backhand return. And just to review, if you guys are joining now, is again, we're keeping our head down, we're keeping our body forward, we're keeping our paddle tilted down. Whenever our paddle's tilted up, the ball's gonna go up, and we're fully following through, and we're holding the paddle loose. And for our forehand and backhand drives, we're moving up to the ball in the direction that we wanna go. For the serves, we're keeping our body down and forward, and our head's going to be down. Actually, before we move on to the next one, we need to go over keeping our head down. You wanna make sure that you keep your head down throughout your whole shot. Again, when you make contact, your head needs to be down throughout your whole shot. A lot of people, they go wrong because they pick their head up and they want to see where the ball goes. You want to make sure that you hit, head down, follow through, smile, and then pick your head up. Same thing on the backhand, and hopefully we can get this ball in. But you want to make sure that you hit, you keep your head down, you smile, and then you pick your head up. You want to make sure you finish your shot, smile for the cameras, before you go to the next ball. By keeping your head down, that's going to make sure that your contact is going forward. The number one reason, again, why players go wrong, if they're tilted, they're holding it loose, and they're fully following through, is because their head's up and their body is up. Another great way to ensure that our drives and our returns are always good is we're making sure that after you hit, you're going to feel a pause. Again, I'm going to hit my return, feel a pause, and move forward. Now, I'm keeping a pause with my upper body. I'm not keeping a pause with my lower body, right, when I'm returning because I want to move up to the kitchen. But same thing for my serve. When I hit, I want to hit, feel that follow through, feel a pause, and then go. Now, that's going to be the next video when you hit a ball in the net, of course. But again, you want to make sure you keep your head down. You get under, you feel a pause, and then you go. By doing that, that will ensure that your forehand, backhand, drives, and serves will go on the court. Now, let's get up to the kitchen line and let's work on our dinks, let's work on our speed ups, and let's work on our volleys. If you struggle with your dinks, speed ups, or volleys, keeping them in the court, then this is going to be the time for you. Let's go. Now, if you're missing your dinks out of the court, we have some work to do. But in this video, we're going to work on all the shots. So let's get started with the dinks. Maybe even if you don't miss the ball long, this will hopefully help you not to pop the ball up. So again, if they're not going super long, this will help you not to pop the ball up. But a lot of times with the dinks and where players go wrong is that they're using their wrist way too much. If you use your wrist too much, the ball is going to go high. Again, a lot of players with the dinks, real quick, is when they dink, they use their wrist. If I use my wrist, the ball's going to go up. When you dink, you want to extend with your arm and your shoulder. Again, when I push this ball forward, I'm using this, I'm not using this. This is going to make the ball go over a short distance. This is going to make the ball either go high or it's going to go long. So what you need to think is a push and not a hit. Like the swing, when you hit the forehand, the backhand, drive, or return, you're doing a full stroke. However, when you're doing the dink, you're pushing the paddle forward. You want to think for the dink, you're literally going from here to here. It's not a big swing. You're going from A to B. You're not just swinging the paddle super hard. So again, put your paddle straight down and push it forward and use your arm and your shoulder. To demonstrate it real quick again is here, when I go forward, I'm just literally pushing it. Notice all those shots, I'm just going like this. A great drill to ensure that you're not taking too big of a swing or you're not using your wrist is you're literally going to go dink with your partner, or you could self-feed, and you're going to just try to hit the ball as small as possible and still try to have the ball go over the kitchen. You're going to be able to connect with your paddle eventually, and you're going to be able to go, okay, all I have to do is just hold my paddle out and the ball's going to go over. I don't have to have a giant swing. Now, when I'm hitting the volleys, this is another thing. A lot of players, they go wrong because they have a high ball and they're trying to hit their volleys and it ends up going long. Sorry. Instead of doing that, what you need to do is you need to make sure that instead of going like this, you need to go like this. Once again, when you hit these volleys, the number one reason why players miss the ball long is because they're using their whole arm and shoulder, kind of inverse like the dink, and they're not using the wrist. Whenever you want to hit a hard shot into the court and you don't want to miss long on your volleys, you need to be using your wrist and you don't use your arm. Again, players, they have a high ball, they're going to kill the ball, and they use their whole arm and shoulder, and then the ball ends up going long. Instead of using my whole arm and shoulder, I'm going to keep my elbow tucked in and I'm just going to use my wrist. Notice, it's here to here. It's here to here. It's not here. You want to go down into the court. You don't want to go through the volley. Now, a great way to think of it is think that your paddle tip up and paddle tip down. You're having your paddle tip go up and then down into court. You're snapping your wrist. You're flicking your wrist like you're shooting a basketball. You're literally going like this. You're not going like that. Another great drill to do is tuck your elbow or tuck a ball under your armpit and just work on hitting volleys and using your wrist. By tucking a ball under your armpit and having it stay under there, you have to only utilize your wrist, and that's going to, once again, in return, help the ball stay into the court, and that's what you need to do. Now, the next thing that you need to do, again, is this is all about the paddle face. Players end up missing the ball long because what they're doing is they're opening up their paddle face. When they're opening up their paddle face and they're hitting the volley, where's the volley going to go? it's going to go long every single time. So instead of opening your paddle face, you need to close your paddle face downward. Whenever the ball is up above the net, you have to hit the ball down into the court. Whenever the ball is below the net, you have to hit the ball up over the net into the court. So what you need to do is not only have your wrist do all the work, but you also need to keep your paddle face tilted down. If it's super high, you're going to hold it vertical, but the lower you get, the more you need to tilt it diagonal. Think, the higher the ball is vertical, and then the lower I make contact, the more diagonal to down when you get below the net when you need to hit it up. So you need to make sure that your paddle is here. You can't have your paddle be here. Your paddle face, again, needs to be closed at all times, and you're using your wrist, and you're going to be able to keep that ball down into the court all the time, and you will never miss long again. So make sure you're like this at all times, and you're good to go. Now with the speed ups, another big thing is they're using their whole arm and their shoulder, and they're not using the wrist. You need to, when you hit a speed up, you need to keep your body down and your body forward and just use your wrist. A lot of players go wrong with the speed ups because they take too big of a swing, they use their arm and their shoulder, they're picking their head up and the body up, and the ball's going to go long every single time. I'm trying to hit over here because I don't want to hit into that court. But instead of just using our arm and shoulder and keeping my body going up, I need to keep my body down and forward, and I need to use my wrist. Again, when I hit this speed up, I'm using my wrist and I'm keeping my body down. If I'm picking my body up, if my body's falling to the sideways, if I'm falling out of the court, the ball's going to go out of the court. I need to keep my body down, head forward, and just utilize my wrist, and then I'm going to be good to go. Realize when I hit the speed up, it's this, it's not this. Realize when I hit the speed up, I'm not killing the ball. And a lot of players go wrong with the speed ups and they end up missing long because they end up trying to absolutely kill the ball. Unless you want to be like some of the pros that use it as an actual tactic and they try to body bag the person and like hit them in the chest, right? And go boom. You don't need to do that. You need to hit it about 60, 70%. Remember, the speed up is like a change up. It's a change of pace. It's not hitting the ball as hard as possible to win the point. If you end up trying to kill the ball's going to go long every single time that you hit. So what you need to do is you need to make sure you keep your body down, use your wrist, hit around 60, 70%, and you're going to be good to go. Now, the last shot that we're going to go over, and we didn't speak about this, is the overhead. When you have the overhead, what you need to do is you need to swing down and use your wrist. Again, if you don't use your wrist for any of the high balls, the ball's going to go long. And that's basically what it's going to be. If I use my arm, my shoulder for the high ball, the ball's going to go long. However, if I use my wrist and snap my wrist down, the ball's going to go down into the court. So I need to make sure every single time I hit, I'm using my wrist and going down. I'm not using my arm and shoulder and swinging forward. If it's high or wherever, or if I'm hitting a speed up. So if you can do that, you are going to be able to hit every single ball in the court. And if you don't and you miss long, you're going to have different things to revert to. Remember, if you miss the ball long, check. Is my paddle tilted down? Am I holding my paddle loose? Am I fully following through? Then, if you're still missing the ball long, is my body down? Is my head forward? Am I making sure that I'm balanced? Am I getting into my legs? Am I finishing my shot? And if you still miss, what are you going to do? Now you have the perfect blueprint that if you're going to 80% power, you're going to shift down, go 70, 60, 50. Okay, now you're hitting it in 55, 60, 65, 70. You're going to go up or you're going to go down. You're climbing or you're decreasing a little and then climbing up. And that's how you're going to be more effective at pickleball and keep the ball in. By doing these different types of things, you're going to be able to hit bigger, have more confidence, keep the ball more in the court, and in return, you're going to be able to win more pickleball points. Now, the one thing that I want to wrap up this video with is I wanted you to see the commonalities between the serve and the drives and the returns, right? You always want to make sure your paddle's tilted down, you're fully following through, you're keeping your head down. Now with the dinks and the volleys, it's a little bit different, but basically you need to make sure that your paddle's down, you fully accelerate, and you keep your body grounded. There are certain things that you can do in pickleball to keep the ball in that's going to apply universally amongst all of your shots. And if you can implement these tactics into your game, you are going to totally improve. Now, again, the best way to support this channel, if you guys are enjoying this video, and when you guys enjoy this video, and when I see the likes and the subscribes and everything go up, it motivates me to make better content and make more videos. It's very, very simple. The best way, it's not to tip me, it's not to like, it's not to subscribe, it is to share with your pickleball friends. If you enjoyed this video, please share this to someone who's maybe missing along, they don't know how to keep the ball in, and guess what? They're going to be better off, and you're going to help another pickleballer. The best way to spread love on this channel is to share this to other people and have them benefit from my tips. If you're playing someone in the next week or so in a tournament, probably don't share this to them, because if they watch this video, after it's done, they're going to be able to hit every single ball in the court and never miss again. But share this to your friends, not your opponents that you're playing, and you guys will be so much better off, and you guys will help support the channel. Check out all my links. Have a good one. Happy hitting, and we will see you guys next time on court.